Nerds Talking, the podcast.
Yo, we talk about lightsabers, stunning your TV screens, what you want to stream, everything beyond your dreams. Want to talk about movies, sports, or even politics? Go ahead and tune into us, we'll give you all of it. Whatever you're debating, Xbox or PlayStation, Marvel or DC, Mac or PC. Teraflops when the movie drops, gigabytes, chips, RAM, no matter what it is, we got all of it. Welcome to the show.
Nerds Talking, the podcast.
Welcome to Nerds Talking, the podcast. I'm here with Johnny, Laura, and I'm Carlos. Another Friday, another show. It's funny, I've hosted the last two shows, and the intro, Lafayette came up with the intro. Welcome to Nerds Talking, the podcast. I hosted the very first show, and this is what it sounded like. Welcome to Nerds Talking, the podcast. So, yeah, today we have Dennis and Lafayette. I'm like, what the hell, man? I've never done a podcast before. It sounded so funny.
The booming is good. That's a good, bold intro.
Yeah. Veterans Day weekend. Someone want to thank Johnny? I ain't gonna thank
You're welcome, America.
I always want to thank Johnny for his continual presence, his service to the country. Just, thank you for your service.
Carlos, is that feeling shared by everybody on this podcast?
Hell no. Let me tell you. I always thought, so Veterans Day, I was always confused because I thought a veteran was someone who served in a war. I didn't realize if you serve in the Army, as soon as you're out, you're a veteran.
Military, not Army. Military.
Or military, correct. Right. So
You have to serve some active duty, though. Like, let's say I go to basic training and then I'm in the National Guard for 9 years, whatever. If I never get deployed, then I don't think I technically get that veteran status.
But does deploy mean just leave the country?
Well, I mean, you're on active duty. You could be deployed anywhere. Like, when all the riots are going on, they're calling in the National Guard. All those people got deployed.
But aren't you on active duty while in the military? Like, say you're in the Marines, right? I know the Marines, for some reason, they do exercises in Australia and Japan.
Okay.
So they're deployed to Australia and Japan, but there's no war. It's not wartime. It's peacetime.
Yeah.
So once they're deployed, they're veterans?
No, I'm just saying for reservists. So let's say that they're a reservist Marine, but they never go anywhere. They do 8 years Awakened Warrior stuff and 2 weeks a year of training, but they're not deployed. They're not a veteran.
Okay, but what about
but all those people,
regular military?
Yeah, all the regular military people are veterans. If you've been to war, then now you're a combat veteran.
I see.
And I think that's what most people think about. But
right.
I mean, it's all needed, because if you didn't have anybody there when the combat was needed, then
That's right.
you're fucked.
That's right.
So.
Do they have any Veterans Day in Canada? They care about their vets?
They do. It's called Remembrance Day. It's not called Veterans Day. And it's the same day. It's the same day as Veterans Day here. But it's called Remembrance Day, not Veterans Day. Which is weird because here I guess our Remembrance Day is Memorial Day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And then there's Armistice Day, and there's
Armistice Day.
Armistice Day.
Oh.
And then what's the one that's Memorial Day? That's the fallen combat veterans.
What's Armistice Day?
It is the end of World War I. Still celebrated.
Yeah, we're still celebrating that shit.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there any survivors from World War One?
They didn't do that good of a job because there was a World War II.
There was a sequel.
Yeah.
Well, in Polite Society, we have a Veterans Day episode coming out on Monday, the 13th, about a particular combat veteran. You should check it out.
I'll give it a listen.
I'm interested in your take, so we'll talk about it a little bit next week's episode.
Are you going to be doing any English accents? Because that was I listened to your last episode. That was rough. Listening to Rachel do a English accent, and then at 35 minutes and like 20 seconds, you have a laugh that I've never heard from you before. Give it a listen, because it was like it was like you hit so many different notes, and I was really confused.
I have a lot of different laughs. They're all very specific. But I think I know which one you're talking about. Not the moment, but I do know the kind of laugh where it goes up and then timbers down. And
Yeah, I was like, is she
yeah,
genuinely happy? Is she faking
yes,
it? Is she, yeah.
no,
Okay.
no, that's a genuine laugh from me. It's just a weird one. You know, you got all kinds of them.
Oh, any Dolly Parton fans?
Me, I mean, in as a person, not in music.
She's coming out with a rock album. Prepare yourself.
Really?
Yeah,
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
Parton doing rock. So is anybody participating in No Shave November or No Nut November? Anybody?
No nut.
Yeah, it's something that started a few years ago. No Nut November.
Every month is No Shave November for me.
You're disgusting.
Shut up, balls.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the no nut thing?
I can't remember if it's just abstinence for the month or no masturbating for the month.
Well, I guess
Something
we'll
like
have to
that.
try for the short month, man. We don't make it a long month.
I'm gonna have to try next year because obviously this year did not go well.
30 days. Fucking blow a hole in my ceiling after 30 days.
But I did start No Shave. But the part of the reason I started it was I just hate shaving. I'm just too lazy to shave. So
Only shaving above the neck is the only shaving you're stopping.
Right, just my face.
Okay.
And I still don't understand it. I mean, it's supposed to raise awareness to prostate cancer, or is that prostate cancer?
Does it?
That exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, when I go to the doctor's office, if I were to go in November, he's not going to check my prostate with his hairy chin. Oh yeah, good stuff, man. Thanks. Good thing you didn't shave, buddy. I appreciate the hair on my butthole.
I don't care what month it is. Like I feel like that's inappropriate. Switch of doctors.
And the funny thing is about No Nut November is that you can keep your prostate healthy by ejaculating.
Is it a prostate thing? The no nut thing?
I guess. I don't know, but
or is it like a clarity of mind thing, or like a personal challenge to set yourself?
For whom?
I mean, the people who do it.
I'm gonna say I'm just gonna say it leaves a month open for anybody who can't get a date to use that as an excuse. Oh yeah, no, not November. I'm all in. All in.
No, it is not. Okay, it has nothing to do with any kind of awareness, like testicular or prostate cancer. It is a movement associated with the no fat community on Reddit. So abstaining from ejaculating and not watching pornography has health benefits.
Shit. Johnny, you win?
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. Apparently there's a
above the waist.
Afterwards there's a Destroyed Dick December, which started serving as a counterpoint to No Nut November, encouraging participants to take part in sexual activities, masturbation after abstaining from them for the previous month.
So it's like dick anorexia. Starve yourself and then binge in December.
Use the shit out of it before Christmas.
Yeah.
Sounds healthy.
Yeah.
Just in time for New Year's, where you make that resolution to never go through all that shit again.
And then another 10 months to forget.
What are you guys watching? Anything? Who's gonna go see the Marvels this weekend? That comes out this weekend. I'm interested. I'm going. Go see the Marvels. They've already predicted that the opening will be less than The Flash and Black Adam. So two DC bombs will outperform the Marvels, is what they're predicting, which is sad because I think the only reason that is because the Marvels is an all-woman ensemble. If you're not going because of that, then you're just an idiot. But I'm definitely interested in it. I like these characters. Anybody else gonna go see it?
Hell no.
I'm not going to go see it just because I'm very, very busy this weekend and I've got a lot of like personal shit going on. But I'm very interested in seeing it. If I were a younger person who didn't have a lot of responsibilities, I would be planning on go seeing that release. I think the trailer looked fun and looked interesting, and I think you're 100% right. I think it just doesn't have the oomph behind it because of the female leads.
I
Right.
disagree. I think it's a story altogether. Like, Captain Marvel is my least favorite Marvel movie. The Secret Invasion or whatever is my least favorite Marvel like series. Miss Maisel is the second least favorite of my, or Miss
Miss
Marvel.
Maisel, huh? Okay.
Fucking just let me correct myself. Stop being such a dick.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
So
right.
Marvel was in there. So yeah,
It
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a storyline. It's not that interesting to me. And then I don't think it has anything to do with the female leads. I love Brie Larson. She's my type of girl.
I think that maybe female might be the misnomer, but like the leads aren't the super well-known Marvel characters. Do you know what I mean? That were like the core ones. They're more the peripheral characters.
Well, so
Well,
were the
like-
Guardians of the Galaxy.
And Ant-Man.
No, I mean they were when
Ant-Man
they first came out.
Ant-Man was a
but not anymore.
side character for sure.
Yeah,
But his
that's
movies
true.
were pretty good. The
Mm.
storylines, I mean, better than Captain Marvel for sure.
Yeah, the Secret Invasion, I agree, is not super interesting. But if this was Captain America, I would have probably been scheduling my weekend around it. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna have a party on Saturday, and then we go see it on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, if it were one of those major ones, if it were an Iron Man, if it were a Captain America, Thor, I was never a huge fan of. But yeah, I mean, it's just not part of the like original crew that you're super, super invested in, at least from my perspective.
So does that mean you're gonna go see the new Captain America when it's released next year?
Yeah, I probably will. I mean, it doesn't have Chris Evans in it, but I'll still watch it. Got to continue the continuity, right? They're the people you started with. So I feel like I have to watch their stories come to an ending. Do you know what I mean? Those names.
Yeah.
But I mean, then they switched, Captain America is now who was Falcon, Anthony Mackie, and then they're kind of gearing up Ironheart to take after Iron Man, and it's nowhere near
I don't
the
think that's
same.
gonna do well.
No,
It just doesn't have
because
the same
no,
same
you
strength
can't.
as Tony
Mm-mm.
Stark.
Yeah,
But it has
Iron
nothing
Man,
to do with
yeah.
the fact that she's a girl, though. I mean, like, I don't know. When people throw that out there, it's like, all right, like, there's a reason, Charlie's Angels, didn't make anything. It's because it was garbage. It wasn't because it was female cast or whatever. I mean, I don't know. Like, fans will be fans of make it good. The people will come. It's my opinion.
Well, they also pushed Ironheart back 1 year, the series, Disney Plus series.
that's
And-
probably a good idea. Just
and then
keep pushing it. Just
And then
keep pushing it.
Echo is being released next year. That's a spin-off of Daredevil character. But from what I understand, it's going to be less superhero and more just action. It's I guess it's a rated R series. So we'll have to see how that goes. But the Daredevil is in it. But we'll just have to see how that goes. Less superhero, more action.
I really like the Daredevil Netflix series, and I was really sad when they stopped making them.
I think it got better for me anyway when the Punisher was introduced.
100%. But then the
Yeah.
Punisher spinoff, I watched that and I wanted to like it. I'm like, this is just not as good. But in like season 2 or season 3, whenever he showed up in Daredevil, I'm like, this is the best season.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
really fucking good.
Another, I mean, Charlie Cox is a good actor, but the people he had around him, not so good. I don't know who's coming back besides the guy who played Wilson Fisk. I don't know who's coming back. So you watching anything else? Johnny, you watching anything?
I started season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham. I'm only one episode in. I mean, I kind of know what happens already. You know, I've been on ESPN, so um, it's a really good show. It's like I said before, it was like a real life Ted Lasso underdog story. You know, but I'm a big fan.
This the soccer one.
Yeah,
Got it.
Ryan Reynolds. What's
Yeah.
the other guy's name?
Jiminy Cricket.
May as well be. Nobody remembers who he is. Put him right next to Ryan Reynolds. You're like, who? All you see is Ryan
Who?
Reynolds.
What?
You don't see the other guy. I'm like, who's that other guy? Even though
dude,
you
I
don't
really
recognize
like him too. He's hilarious.
Always
And,
Sunny.
yeah, and Always Sunny, but in Mythic Quest, he's hilarious.
Haven't seen
Oh,
that.
oh,
Haven't seen
Rob
the lead-
McElhenney.
Yeah.
Rob McElhenney. Yeah. Ryan and Rob. Welcome to Wrexham. Good show. Yeah, I think I'm 6 episodes in. Yeah, but I was in no hurry to go back and watch it again. I waited for a few to come out before I started watching it. Yeah, because
Is
like
it
you
over?
said,
I mean, as far as season or episodes posted, is it over?
I think so. I think they only did 8 like last time.
Hmm.
But it's like you said, I knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So I was in no hurry to watch. Because I mean, let's face it, they spent a lot of money in that city for that club. And there was no way they weren't going to get what they wanted. Because they were just losing money hand over fist. Because they were in a league where they get no sponsorships, no money, and they were paying for everything. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I know how it went, but yeah, but it's a good story. I mean, if you've not seen Welcome to Wrexham, it's a great story, and it's a true story. So yeah, check it out. Laura, what are you watching?
Since I am back on Netflix, of course, I'm watching Great British Bake Off. New season, episode every Friday, enjoying that immensely as usual. But I've also gotten into like a bunch of true crime stuff on Netflix. I watched Who Killed Jill Dando, which was interesting but really dry. I didn't know anything about this. This basically the Barbara Walters of the UK was murdered on her front stoop. Never solved. Um
Hmm.
and
To this day,
and
never solved. I mean, even after the
no, never.
documentary, it's really.
Mm-mm.
See, I don't like
Yeah.
documentaries like that. It's like, I mean, they give you all the info, but it's like I could have read this on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
could
like
have
the
been this
journey
guy.
though.
Could have been that guy. Could have
Right,
been
Yeah.
both. Like the Golden State Killer.
Mm,
I mean, he was eventually found through DNA stuff,
DNA.
but
Mhm.
what's that dude's name? Oswald Patton. His wife came out
Oh
with a
yeah, a
book.
podcast. You're right, and a book. She did
Yeah,
a book. Right.
and she came out with it before they found him. So like and then there was a detective that worked for Sacramento County. He also came out with a book before they found him too. Like, oh, it could have been this. This is the evidence here, and maybe we think this, and you know all that stuff. But yeah, to leave it like unsolved like that, that's kind of a bleh.
Yeah, it is unsatisfying from a narrative arc, but that's life, and I don't know. I like police work, so I like hearing about all the different things, that they chased and how they got there. And it never came to fruition, but I mean, it's just interesting. So that was like a 3-episode thing. Then I watched this other one. I don't even remember what it was called. It's like Haysom versus Soaring, and it was this couple in the 80s. They're like young college couple. Her parents were murdered, and they keep blaming each other. The couple, the daughter is like, it was my boyfriend. The boyfriend was like, I didn't do it. It was her. And back and forth for like 40 years. And it was interesting to watch because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what the truth is. And I don't know. I guess I like kind of stuff like that because there's so many things in life where you'll never know the answer. You just kind of have to go with your gut. So I like watching those kinds of things. But then that led me to Killer Sally.
Killer Sally McNeil, the killer of Ray McNeil on Valentine's Day, 1995. Is that correct?
That sounds right. I don't know. I don't have the synopsis in front of me.
Oh, you didn't know about this beforehand?
No. Uh-uh.
Oh,
Knew nothing about it.
it was on every news outlet, even hard copy. The tabloid news show was running it, and it was ridiculous. It was like everywhere.
In
So yeah,
95, you mean?
in '95, yeah. So what'd you think?
Well, let's give a synopsis first.
Follows two married bodybuilders with two kids as they met and rose to bodybuilding fame.
And then she murdered him on Valentine's Day night. And so it's this whole question between, interviews with her, interviews with prosecutors, attorneys, friends, family, her two children, and the reason why she killed him. I I was fixated on this thing, and as soon as I started it, I was like, this is fucking crazy and very, very interesting. And my thought through the whole case, I'm just like, really? You sent this woman to jail for like what, 30 years or something? It
He served
seemed like a
25.
25 years. It seemed like a terrible miscarriage of justice. But I think it makes sense though. I mean, so the whole battered woman syndrome, you get a lot of resistance to that, which I think is probably healthy. You don't want to be like, "Oh, well, woman killed her husband, she said that he was beating her, so we just have to believe her." Like you have to be skeptical. Anything that ends in a murder, like you have to be looking at it and thinking critically. But in this case, it seems so fucking clear, with her kids who were there that night and said he was choking her. I could hear the noise, like her gurgled breaths as he was choking her. I mean, it's so, so clear. But I also see how she got a raw end of the deal, man. When you don't fit the kind of like stereotype or category that people think that you're going to be, that really comes back on you. And it came back on her in a really hard way. I don't know, the whole thing, heartbreaking, but fascinating. And also the whole bodybuilding world is also very interesting. That craziness and her wrestling sessions with men. Of course, you're like, what's that all about? And so I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it.
No, I saw it as well, and I got the same feeling. Like the whole, it's 3 episodes. So the first 2 episodes, you totally like, oh man, she was abused all her life. All these different partners all would beat on her and whatever. And then,
Parents,
right, exactly, because her stepdad would abuse her as well and didn't even want her to be there because he had two kids of his own with her mom. And the third episode, all of a sudden, it started trying to turn the table. It's like, well, what exactly happened? Were you? And here's the thing: I was kind of like, at first, I was like, yeah, she was just trying to defend herself. But then the episode 3 came around. I started siding. I'm like, what really happened? What's really going on? Right? The district attorney at the time, the
the number one
farms.
thing I took away from him, I was like, really? You didn't have a mullet in the 90s when you're like this star prosecutor, but then
He
now
has one
in
now.
2022, you have a fucking mullet? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, that guy really pissed me off.
Yeah. So district attorney at the time, Dan Goldstein. This guy, he paraded around like he was a celebrity. I mean, this guy
Hmm.
was out to get her, and he got all of Ray's friends to testify against Sally. And I'm sure the questioning was, well, what did you see? Or how did you, da da da, right? And every question was, well, how did Sally react? So I'm sure every question was to make her look bad because he's the
Oh, yeah.
prosecuting attorney. So absolutely, right? But the more he talked, the more I kept thinking, you're just a douchebag. Just look at you. I mean, you're doing
Yeah.
your job. You're district attorney. I get it. But this is the mid 90s. So women who were battered, I don't believe anyone believed them,
Yeah.
right?
I agree.
Because like even the woman from Hard Copy, She said the reason they picked up the story is so they can write stupid headlines, just say stupid headlines like Sally McNeil, Valentine's night. Was she pumping iron or was she pumping bullets into her husband? I'm like, they did this just for the tabloid thing of it. The thing that made them push it over so it made it look like it was murder and not self-defense is that apparently she reloaded the shotgun and the empty casing was found in the bedroom after she shot him the first time in the living room. Clearly, she went back into the bedroom to grab another shell, pump into him. But what I was thinking was, because even the daughter was imitating the sound of the choking sound that her mom was making, only because she has heard it hundreds of times prior when her dad was doing this to her. I mean, to Sally, not to the daughter. So my thought was she was so enraged and so done with it. I'm just done. That she had to just, I mean, I could totally see that happening. That you're going to shoot him once and you're not
in
done with him
self-defense.
because
But the second time, because you know he's not fucking dead.
Right.
You know?
So the
And
fear is that you didn't do the
guy's
job
on-
the first time. So you got to
he's
go
on
back.
5 steroids at the same, like when they did his autopsy, he was on 5 different kinds of steroids.
Right. And roid rage
Like-
is real. It's not.
Oh, 100% it's
yeah.
real.
So, yeah. So I can see why she went back to, probably out of fear that she didn't finish him off and he's going to come back and do it. So,
Yeah.
so she totally got the raw end of the deal. 25 years. She lost 25 years of her life. Battered woman, battered wife. And her kids went through the same shit.
I know. It was
The same
so sad.
Yeah. So I
That
felt bad for her.
that video of her, they played like the interview room camera of when
Oh,
she got to see her kids the night
yes.
of.
Yes.
Oh my God, I bawled. That
even
was
the son was
saddest
like,
thing.
the policeman said you were defending yourself. You know, he was, and even he thought, oh, you're gonna come home soon. And, oh yeah, that was a horrible scene. I was just trying to picture myself in that situation, not seeing my kids again.
Yeah,
Man,
I know, right?
I don't think I'll ever be in that situation. I hope I'll never be in that situation. But man,
Well, I don't think you'll ever be a battered woman, Carlos.
No, this is true. This is true. Or unless my wife starts beating me, then I'll. I don't know.
Battered man syndrome.
Battered man syndrome. Yeah, but if you get a chance to watch it, good series. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Maybe even, I mean, for me, maybe even a 4.5 out of 5. It was riveting. And I just kept thinking, if I were on that jury, there was no way I would have sent this woman to jail. I would have been the one on the fucking jury that I'm like, no, we're going to sit here for the next week until y'all decide we are deadlocked. Because I am not sending this woman to jail. Maybe I could have been convinced to manslaughter. Maybe. But 2nd-degree murder, no, not in a million years. And I would have set everything in my life against it. But it was so sad. And she got this public defender, which I'm sure he was doing the best that he could. But I mean, he's a fucking public defender. But every dime she ever made was pushed towards getting her husband famous and getting her husband into, Mr. Olympia or whatever. So she doesn't have the money to put up for a good defense attorney. And that a good defense attorney could have turned this whole case around. And then that fucking friend of Ray's, the husband, the one that was like, first of all, he said, he's a gentle giant, But I mean, you had to watch yourself because I mean, he could really fly off the handle. I'm like, sorry.
Oh, this is the guy, DJ, right? This is the guy who left that night and was supposed to come back, but he went to go get food.
Yes.
Yeah. So if he was there, I can almost guarantee this doesn't happen.
100%. If it doesn't happen this night, maybe it would happen another night, but wouldn't have this night. Ray told him, I want you there. She told him, I want you there. They both knew they were going into a situation that was going to end badly. Both of them wanted a third party to be present to keep both of them in check. And this fucking bodybuilder, that's bodybuilder, is a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, I got to go get some chicken. I need some chicken breast. I'll be back. When he goes back, there's fucking helicopters and cops everywhere. And he
And
was like,
his steroid dealer,
oh yeah.
man, that guy had humongous hands. Did you see that?
No, I
This
didn't
guy,
notice it.
man, this guy could palm a watermelon. This guy had huge hands. Yeah, that's what threw me off every time he spoke. He had these huge hands. But yeah, good docuseries for sure.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I felt very bad for her. I'm happy that she's out. She's trying to live a life as best she can. God bless you, Sally.
So what I'm watching is, if you're an anime fan, Netflix series called The Blue-Eyed Samurai. Man, what a great drama. This is a great show. If you're a fan of Samurai Champloo or of Ninja Scroll, you're going to love The Blue-Eyed Samurai. It's an 8-episode series. Man, it's so good. I don't know if any of you guys watch anime, but
Nope.
Man, it's a
No.
great show. And the animation is outstanding. Outstanding animation. So check it out. Blue-Eyed Samurai, Netflix. Check out Killer Sally. And Johnny, what did you say you were watching?
Wrexham.
Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
Do you like money? Have you thought about investing in cryptocurrency? Do you see a future where your 401k is worth more than you imagine? Then tune into the podcast Fat Rich Pigs. That's right. Do you want to be a fat rich pig? Or just a fat guy that buys pigs and flips them on the market and gets all the bacon, if you know what I mean? Fat Rich Pigs. That's stuff for you. Listen, it's a good show. I have satisfied customers all over the place, from Fat Guy Loves Cake to the Nerd Stalking Podcast fellas. They're all filthy rich because of me, because of my podcast. Fat Rich Pig is one of our customers telling you how they got rich because of the show. I heard this guy on Nerd Stalking the Podcast and I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? And now look at me. I got a lot of Dogecoin. I got so much I don't know what to do with it. So hey, Nerd Stalking the Podcast. And there you go. A satisfied customer for my podcast and Nerd Stalking the Podcast every Friday. Now back to the show. Fat Rich Pigs.
Welcome back to Nerd Stalking the Podcast. I'm here still with Johnny and Laura, and I'm Carlos. All right, so the SAG-AFTRA strike may have come to an end. There's a tentative agreement between higher pay and the AI rules that the actors may have won on. But we'll see. It's not 100% over, but it's almost there. And in the meantime, Hollywood is doing what Hollywood does best. They're recycling stuff. This time, The Fall Guy. The Fall Guy is a 1980s TV show, is now becoming a movie. That trailer was released this week. Did anybody get a chance to watch the trailer?
I did.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh,
I mean, honestly, I don't remember the original Fall Guy too much as far as characters. I mean, I remember the opening, but I mean, he was just a stuntman. Did he solve crimes? Or
so in the TV show, Colt Seavers, played by Lee Majors, was a stuntman who moonlighted as a bounty hunter.
okay,
He had the help of his cousin or his nephew? Anyway, a family member who was also a stuntman would help him out, along with someone else. Actually, he wasn't a stuntman. The other stuntman was Jody Banks, a female stunt woman. They were bounty hunters, and he did all his stuff in his big brown GMC truck. This huge, big tires, whatever. So that was his gig. But in the movie, Colt Seavers is an out of work stuntman who gets invited by his ex-girlfriend, who's making her big directorial debut for Hollywood. So she asks him to be a stuntman in her movie, and the leading man goes missing. For some reason, now he's hired, or he's given the job to go find the leading man, played by Aaron Taylor Thomas. So, or is it Aaron Taylor Johnson? Sorry, that stupid kid from Home Improvement. Aaron Taylor Johnson. So, I mean, it has the same title and it's got the same leading character name, Colt Seavers, and the brown pickup truck. But that's the only thing but he's an out of work stuntman. He's not a bounty hunter. And throughout the trailer, he kept throwing a thumbs up. I don't remember that in the TV show. Thumbs up was not a thing. But I watched this show every week, so I would have remembered that. And I'm really hoping they get Ryan Gosling to sing the theme song from Fall Guy. That'd be great.
What's the theme song?
Oh, I'm glad you asked.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for a living in the movies and TV.
We're gonna do 30 seconds for our Spotify tags us.
I never watched the show, but I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks fun. It looks stupid, but like in a fun way.
It does
I
look
don't
good.
know.
I'm looking forward to it. The funny thing is, this was actually finished before Barbie. For some reason, it was shelved for a while. But
Who knows?
yeah, it looks fun. It looks good. I'm definitely in line for this one when it comes out. I believe it comes out in March 2024.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'll see it.
On to our weekly movie review. A Haunting in Venice, the third chapter of Detective Hercule Poirot. This takes place in Venice, Italy. Laura, why don't you start us off? What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I did watch it after Halloween, so I'm like, I feel like I was a little bit over the spooky vibes. You know, if I would have watched it the day before, I maybe would have been a little bit more in the groove. It was well done, but generally, honestly feel like it's probably the weakest of all three, and I'm not really sure why I think that. I'm trying to pinpoint it. And I don't know why. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I'm always guessing. I'm always like, I have no idea who the fucking murderer is. And then once they talk about it, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. You know, you try to like hindsight is 2020. You try to like retrocon your own memories. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But I don't know, something about it just didn't ring for me, and maybe it was the superstitious element to it as opposed to all the other ones who are very cool and factual, and here are the things that I have sussed out that you didn't notice. And this one was a little bit more hocus pocusy. But again, I might have been more into that if I would have watched it 2 days earlier before Halloween.
Well, what rating would you give this?
Say 3 out of 5. I would have given the others 3.5 or 4 out of 5. And a big reason for that rating, I mean, the shots of Venice are just stunning. Venice is amazing. It's beautiful. It's awesome to look at. Everything about it, I love. And then Tina Fey was fun. I thought she played her part perfectly, and it was an interesting addition, kind of a little bit of levity to the whole situation. So yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yanni, what'd you think?
I'm gonna agree with Laura on the location. Venice looked amazing. It looked a lot better than when I was there. So the Venice in the movie was beautiful. That's the Venice I was hoping to see. The storyline, just mixing the supernatural with the crime fighting thing or crime solving thing, it wasn't my favorite take on the whole thing, because like there were times where he like proved all these certain people were fake, and then at the same time a ghost appears, and it's like, okay, I guess, I mean, like, and the explanation was honey. It was just some
I guess
wild
that he
drug
was
infused
doped.
honey.
I guess
And
that he was doped pretty early. I'm like, he's drugged. There's no way that this is like a legitimate part of the plot.
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
didn't. So some of the characters, right, like the doctor and his son, the doctor had severe PTSD, right?
it was super sad. Yeah.
And he, because when the movie started, I thought the lady and him were a couple, and he was just
I did
fighting.
too. Yeah.
But then it just turns out he was a doctor friend in love with her. Like, oh,
Mhm.
okay. Well, that makes it more confusing, but okay. I mean, it fit into the storyline, I guess. You're right. It's probably my least favorite of the three. It wasn't bad compared to maybe some other mystery ones that I've seen, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. Just throwing the supernatural stuff in there, just it threw me off a little bit. Just the whole overall storyline. So the kid was a blackmailer, right?
Yep.
And he I'm thinking he got like hundreds of thousands of dollars. What did he spend it on? Like just
Nothing. He didn't spend it on anything. He paid the
Bills
bills
for
and
his dad.
just and
well,
took the
yeah,
rest and put him
but
in the
like
mattress.
right. So the bills for his dad, like I guess his dad didn't realize that bills needed to be paid. He just kind of, like so things didn't add up, right? Uh, kid was super creepy.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I'd probably give it a 3. Not my most favorite one, but as far as scenery and just visually, it was my favorite setting, I guess. I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay, this is where you're both wrong.
Okay.
This is the best movie of the series because of his actions and disproving the supernatural. I'm glad they brought back the quad stash. It wasn't as good as part 2, but it was there. It's a good looking stash. I was jealous the whole time. I wish I could grow a quad stash. Like the whole supernatural thing and how he debunked everything. I don't know if the first 30 minutes I had it on in the background when I was kind of watching it, but then I caught the first 30 minutes and I was like, this is intriguing. Let me sit down and watch this. It did better than the other two. And but the thing is, when they explained that the girl came home for the mom to take care of her, and then Poirot said she started getting sick after she came home, and she said yes, and then that's what I was like, the mom. I knew right away it was the mom because because the only thing that flashed into my head was the Sixth Sense. Now the stepmom was poisoning the daughter, the little girl, and she died. So I was thinking, this is the mom. And lo and behold, I was right. I should be a detective.
Because you've seen The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Do you know how many criminals would walk free after they commit crimes if you were a real detective?
None. 0. The jails would be overcrowded.
Because of all the people you put away.
We
Spoiler
start
alert, they're already overcrowded.
We'd have to start sending them to Australia again. But no, the plot was great. The story was great. The only thing that threw me off was the kid at the end. The kid was a blackmailer.
So you did you see it pre-Halloween when you were still in that like spooky mindset?
No, I saw it today.
Today. Okay.
I saw it this afternoon. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say there goes my theory. I was like, I feel like I would have been more in the mood a week ago.
No, a week ago I was too busy watching 80s slasher films.
Yeah, you watched a lot.
You did.
You watched
really went
a lot of
hard.
movies.
More that past week than like in your all of the 80s and 90s combined.
I watch a shit ton of movies. And whenever people start talking about drugs and I start talking about how you can use drugs and how drugs are used, and like I'll make a joke about like rubbing chocolate on my teeth like a cokehead, because I just want to get all the chocolate. Oh, how do you know all that? I watch a lot of movies, man. Drug references are in a lot of movies.
Truth.
It was a long story just to admit that you waste a lot of time on movies.
I don't waste time. Movies
You learn a
are
lot.
pastime.
Yeah.
Beautiful pastime. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Laura, defend him if you want to, but he's gonna say some dumb shit, and then you're gonna have to defend him again.
No, I'm defending him on this point because I consume a lot of content, whether that's movie. I don't watch as many movies. I watch more TV shows now. You can learn a lot from television. People are like, "Oh, it's the boob tube." No, I mean, I learned so much about medical field and the human body from watching House, and
That's
No.
different, Bookie.
how is it different?
That's what
I
then
learned
watching
that-
a movie?
I learned that my son and I can go down to Mexico, take on the cartel. Just gotta learn karate.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
I don't know. I don't think that fucking week that Carlos watched Halloween, Friday the 13th, Freddy, he didn't learn shit.
They did.
He learned about how to
Okay.
write the paper boy.
That's right. I wrote the Paperboy.
Ah,
Yes, right.
I'll
Cult
give you
classic, you
$10 not to make it.
Cult classic. Anything else? You guys got anything else? Anything new going on? Anything coming up?
No.
Oh, it's too bad. Too bad. Laura,
I'm trying to
anything?
think if there's I'm still enjoying Frasier.
Oh
4
yeah.
episodes in, still enjoying it. 2 more will be coming shortly to the streaming service of my choice. Wink, wink. Soon, and yeah, I really like it. It's kind of like the little excitement. My husband's like, I
Are
got
you
more Frasier
pirating these
episodes.
episodes?
No. Yes.
Do you have Paramount Plus? Oh, you don't have
No.
Paramount.
No. No.
Speaking of pirating, it looks like Oppenheimer is available. Equalizer 3, we should watch that. I haven't seen it yet.
Saw it.
Okay, we haven't reviewed it. Oh, settle down.
Then watch it.
I'm
We'll
interested in
review it.
watching Oppenheimer
Stop being
with
so
my
mean. Settle
husband.
down, man. What's wrong with you?
Oh,
wrong with
speaking
you?
of mean, Tina Fey's remaking Mean Girls. Comes out next year.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't want to
Tina
remake.
Fey twist of Mean Girls.
It was good to see
Well,
her
whatever.
in the Haunting of Venice, but I don't know. I didn't like her character.
Neither did I.
You're not supposed to
Mm.
like her. No, I don't think you're supposed to like her.
It's not her. I just didn't like the way it was portrayed. I just didn't. She wasn't a very convincing. She's not a very convincing drama or serious actress. Comedy, yes. Will kill me on comedy.
I liked her to the point where she was like, well, yeah, I kind of like deceived you. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm like, well, that wasn't necessary. Like, what? Because before that, I don't know, she was very helpful. She had her comedic role in it. I mean, I really liked Tina Fey. But then that part, like, oh, you're a bitch. I didn't know that. Like, I didn't realize. I don't know.
Haunting in Venice or 30 Rock. Do you ever notice the scar on Tina Fey's
Yes,
face?
on her
Do you
cheek.
know
Or, yeah.
She got slashed.
she did.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she was
And
a
they're like,
kid
she-
in New
She was
York.
like 6 or something. And I was like, God, that's
Damn.
terrifying.
I read her
Whenever
book
I
on
see
audio.
it makes me
and,
sad. Yeah.
And she said, she mentions it. She's like, yeah, I got slashed in the face. And yeah, I don't really talk about it. So that's that. Like, it happened and
Mhm.
let's move on. I was like, this is your book, your autobiography. Like, tell me something. Shit.
Yeah, who did it? Why they did it?
Yeah, did they
Was
get
it
caught?
stepdad,
Like,
stepmom?
I think she did talk. No, it was like a stranger.
yeah, it was
Oh,
complete
it's
stranger,
like
random, like,
random
okay.
It was
attack.
like playing at
Yeah.
her front yard or something. And
I
I mean,
didn't
who
get
does
that.
that to a fucking kid? Awful, awful.
Yeah.
But in that book she was talking about like how they light her, like when she was in 30 Rock, like they would try to shoot her more from one side of the face and
Yeah.
kind of keep that side in shadow to kind
Is that motherfucker still out there? Or am I like not safe when I go to New York? Jesus.
of
It's not safe to go to New York.
No.
Rick Moranis.
He got
Rick
fucking
Moranis was-
sucker punched.
Yeah, sucker punch. It's a random act of violence.
100%. If I'm going back to New York, I'm carrying my gun. 100%.
In my hand the whole time, so people know.
Oh yeah. Be like the least.
Conceal this, motherfucker.
All right, well, if nothing else, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of our show. For Laura,
Goodbye.
for Johnny,
See ya.
and I'm Carlos. Bye-bye. We'll see you next week on Nerds Talking the Podcast.